Good afternoon, evening, good morning, whichever you happen to be in right now. This is Carity, and I'm here to talk to you about when description delays access. This is a tale of two indices that I worked with over the past semester, and so let's check them out. With the student chapter of the Society of American Archivists, we have been working on digitizing the Michigan Black History bibliography. And what we've come to notice is this is not a true bibliography per se. It actually includes folders, scrapbooks, pamphlets, articles, theses, dissertations, programs, events, all kinds of good stuff. So it was put together in the 1970s, and it has been edited at least once since then, as we can see with the handwritten notes. And the goal of our project here is actually accuracy. So we're trying to put together a really nice, professional, final product before we actually release it to the public. On the other side of the spectrum, we have a separate index that is Index 59 from the Maryland State Archives. These 1,200 cards per box, and box is sometimes also referred to as item. These cards detail events relating to legal matters with land, usually a sale or an inheritance, and the institutional goal overall seemed to definitely be an emphasis on access. In some ways, it's kind of unfair to compare these two projects because they are so different and they are being handled so differently. But more than say one's right or wrong, what I really wanted to do was to kind of compare the two and see where the focus lies. One thing that I will note is the Michigan Black History Bibliography has much more text per card, as well as a much more complex data structure that's in the original material. Index 59 is generally very limited text, it's very brief, and actually the OCR goals are a little bit different. For the Black History Bibliography, we're looking to actually extract the data, but for Index 59, they just want the character recognition embedded in the PDF so that users can search for it. The Michigan Black History Bibliography is going stage by stage, so we're compiling the metadata before we move on to the next stage, which will be figuring out publication efforts. Whereas Index 59, they go box by box, and as soon as a box is ready to go, it's online within literally a couple days. To give you a better idea of what we're actually talking about here, this is your average card from the Michigan Black History Bibliography, and as you can see where the arrow is, these digits have been whited out and actual text has been written in, and this makes OCR just absolutely not really workable. Also, the structure of the data is consistent, but it is very dense. So there's not really a good standardized way to extract it from the PDF. However, for Index 59, this is actually a very dense card. Most of them have less text than this even. And again, what they're going for with the OCR is they're giving people a Control F to search through this index, so they make it available fairly quickly, and there's not really much to sort out. Now, before I make my next point, I do want to just say that the approach has been different, but that doesn't mean that there's been any less care or effort put into this different project. It's more that we're approaching it a different way. And if you are familiar with this image, you probably have seen it through some of the conferences lately that our officers in the SAA have been able to present actually what we're doing in the bibliography, and it has come a long way so far. Unfortunately, the approach that we've taken does mean that after 3 years, we still have literally one blog post online, and that is all we have as far as an online presence. There's no index online. There's no way to access this resource without literally coming into the library and looking through the cards. And that's a part of what we're hoping to change, but we also want it to be complete before we present it. Through the changes over the years, we've realized there are excessive access points to manage in this project. When you factor in the location of every document, when you factor in the authors, the editors, the collections, the excerpts, and right now it's just too much to handle. We just need to focus on getting the data out of the PDF. Maryland State Archives, on the other hand, they've been doing this for quite some time longer. Index 59 is also known as S1431, that's series. They have a very standardized internal organization scheme. The IT department has worked on proprietary file transfer programs and applications. So the result is that they have the option to kind of do things piece by piece. Now, the result of doing things in little manageable chunks is that as of April, although there are 87 boxes of cards, and that's, remember, 1,200 cards each, although there are 87 boxes, we have completed 34% as far as making these PDFs, these information, available online and making it searchable to users. And users can actually request the archives to give them a copy, and there's a charge, of course, a processing fee, but the point is that even if users can't get their hands on the whole record right away, they know that the archive has it, and they can request it, and they can request this information in a way that the archive can actually find it more easily. So this is kind of a snowball effect to user access. You know, the more users can find, the more they can request, and the more they request, well, then the committees at Maryland say, well, we're getting a lot of requests on this project, so we need to move it up as far as the priorities go. So it works for them for this method. So overall, it is kind of like comparing apples to oranges, but at the same time, they are both fruit, you know? So each project is different, each institution is different, and what we need to really do is focus on clarifying our goals and making sure that we're doing our best to meet those goals on a per project basis. There is no one right way to do things because everything is so different throughout the field. Another way of saying that is synergy is better than my way or your way. It's our way. And as we get into archives and we evaluate our programs and our projects, we'll have to decide in an individual capacity whether we need to err on the side of description or err on the side of access. And as you can see, it definitely depends on what you're working with as to which side of that line you want to fall on. Thank you again, everyone. These are a handful of the references that I've touched on. If you want any more information, I can make these available. And shameless plug, if you are not a member of the student chapter of the Society of American Archivists, we definitely would love to have you. We are working on the Michigan Black History Bibliography, and hopefully getting that online this year, maybe, fingers crossed.